In this podcast episode, we're going to be discussing mainly BTS and then WayV and their comeback. So let's get on with the podcast. Hello all, and welcome back to the Kpop podcast. I hope you're all doing very well. So let's start off with Jungkook performing at the World Cup. He performed a single called Dreamers, and it was such a big deal, not only for South Korea, but also BTS fans and just for representation in general. I know it was also a big moment for Jungkook as well. I was discussing with the sister who featured previously in another podcast episode, but we were discussing why Jungkook in particular was the one chosen to perform at the World Cup. We came to the conclusion, I think if it wasn't Jungkook, then Jimin would have been the other good choice, because Jimin can sing extremely well and dance extremely well as well. But I think this kind of shows you Jungkook has been the one especially who gets the international projects. And what I mean by that is Suga featured on Psy's track and made Psy's track as well. He co-produced it, That was a Korean song. J-Hope, I know he did Chicken Noodle Soup, but that's like quite a while ago. I'm thinking more now in terms of this hiatus. J-Hope featured in Crush's song, and once again that was a Korean song. V hasn't done anything like that yet. If V does anything international, I could imagine that V will, like how Jennie from Blackpink is doing some acting in a new HBO show. I wouldn't be surprised if V does something like that in that sense. I'm not quite sure if he's gonna do any international music. It'll just stick to Korean music if he does release a solo album. He could, let's keep the door open for that. But I just think, judging from this World Cup performance and from previous collaborations, neither has Rap Monster, well, this is talking about Rap Monster's Indigo album. I was actually quite surprised that there wasn't a lot of foreign artists featured in RM's album. I know he's got some Korean rappers, etc. featuring. Track I'm excited for is one featuring Tableau. I think Tableau also co-produced it, but Jungkook gets to have like the more English Western collabs. I do want to rectify that Rap Monster is collaborating with international artists on his album, such as Paul Blanco, Erykah Badu, and Anderson .Paak, who BTS have performed with together before. I know that BTS did a collaboration, like when they're a group, they do international American collaborations. I really liked Bad Decisions, but Jungkook, and I think one of the most popular collabs was Jungkook and Charlie Puth, Left and Right, and that was featured, of course, in American radio, etc. So I think with Jungkook also doing this World Cup performance, I think it's showing you, it seems like Hybe has decided that Jungkook is going to be their big solo act from BTS in terms of internationally. There's a difference in popularity between South Korea and the foreign market. I mean, for example, Stray Kids is huge, but they aren't as big as you would think in Korea. In Korea, it's the other groups that people prefer. For instance, Super Junior is still very popular, and EXO, etc. NCT are more well-known, that kind of thing. But I do think that Jungkook is who Hybe is going to select as their big act. I say that because he has similar qualities to, and don't get angry when I say this, but Justin Bieber, in terms of someone who can have a solo pop, and that's important to say, pop career, not rap career, not, like the other members. It's a pop career where your fan base is mainly women, mainly girls, and you are big enough as a boy band as a solo artist. And I do think that Jungkook will be that, is their chosen member. And I say unfortunately because I think it's a bit unfair, but I do think that when Jungkook's solo album does eventually come out, you're going to see the most collaboration with American artists. You're going to see like the featuring Ariana Grande, you're going to see the featuring Justin Bieber, Kid Laroi. They're all from the same label, and I think that Hybe is preserving that power for when they want to use it the most. And I think they will really pull strings to ensure that Jungkook's album is a huge success in America, his solo album. Don't forget that Hybe wants to squeeze as much money out of BTS as they can. And Jungkook is the youngest, so he has the longest years to be as active as possible and make as much money for Hybe. Like, they can't bank on the older members just because the older members have less years on them. And I don't like saying this because ageism sucks. It just seems more business-wise, more plausible for it to be Jungkook. And it's also because Jungkook is an all-rounder and just has that pop star potential. I am seeing being like a Korean Justin Bieber. I like Justin Bieber's music. I like his voice, and Jungkook is obviously a huge fan of him, so it's also a easy comparison to make, but expect him to be like the next big thing, basically, unless Stray Kids kind of get ahead. But I don't think that ARMY will really let that happen, and I don't think Hybe's going to let that happen. They're not going to let them lose out to Stray Kids to another company. It would be a different matter if like TXT got absolutely huge, you know, because then the money's all going to them anyways, but they don't want to have that market share with JYP, and Stray Kids is, you know, running up right behind them. So that's why it's going to be quite interesting. But I think what Hybe can do is basically transition. And the reason why I'm saying this is because BTS is on that hiatus. If they weren't on that hiatus, we'd still be seeing BTS be huge and all of that. But it's the hiatus and the enlistment will cause a little bit of a dip. We've seen all the news headlines, how Hybe is basically bracing themselves for losing lots of money because of BTS's hiatus. That is also a reason why Hybe have vowed to debut loads and loads of groups, although they haven't confirmed debuting Trainee A, which is weird. And I'm thinking of making a video about Trainee A and why they might or might not possibly debut. But they did just debut And Team. Would love to know your thoughts about that. I think it's incredible. Hybe now has the money to make everything high quality. I mean, that And Team debut music video was unbelievable in terms of usually when groups debut, they're kind of just like in a box or like a cheap set and etc. Whereas this was like movie quality debut music video. Yeah, that's just your debut. So you're just going to go from there, just go on a huge trajectory from then on. So expect more to come. Even New Jeans' debut was high quality. They're going to have a comeback in January, by the way, which is going to be even bigger and more expensive. But yes, sorry, going back to BTS, expect Hybe to really push Jungkook's album internationally into the American market. And I think that Jungkook can transition into an act that could win, a solo act that could win a Grammy. I do think that because he will have the power of the ARMY behind him. So the power of 7 members behind one person, like he really could win and make a big splash, but it will be because of BTS and what BTS have done. And obviously Jungkook has contributed to that significantly, just as much as the other members. I say watch this space. I think the World Cup was a very good indicator of what Hybe plans for Jungkook for the future. And also TXT attended an award show. They were nominated for a specific category. I believe it was the AMAs, or was it the VMAs? I always get them mixed up, but they did attend. They didn't win, sadly, unfortunately. But I do appreciate that Hybe hasn't like forgotten TXT and actually do still put them out there. They still perform on shows like Good Morning America. They attend these events. Like I do think that Hybe is still keeping them around in America and doing things in America, which is great. I do feel a bit bad for TXT. In terms of Hybe, okay, I'm a Hybe director, you know, I'm the CEO of Hybe. My thinking is that TXT is my replacement group for BTS. They are the ones that are going to continue this money train chugging along, and they're going to be as big as BTS and make as much money for me than BTS, and then I don't need to worry about BTS going on a hiatus. I don't think that that's happened. I don't think that TXT is like BTS at all, and I don't know what the heck Hybe were thinking if they wanted to achieve that kind of goal, because you would assume that they just make a copy-paste group. TXT are totally different, and I'm very happy about that because I really like them a lot. I think they're extremely talented. I think Hybe really trained them intensely as heck. They can sing and they can dance impeccably, and I think their group chemistry is really good. You know who TXT are actually more like? SHINee. They are way more like SHINee than they are like BTS. And it's like the same thing, like SHINee aren't huge, but they're a damn talented group. They still make money. They're not profitable. They're not like other groups in their company in terms of being absolutely huge. And I think it's great at least that they are still doing like American promotions and doing stuff in the US. I do hope that I believe, because I watched the Hybe briefing, if you want to know more about what happened and what Hybe are announcing, their goals for next next year, all the comebacks. TXT are having a comeback in January, so I'm guessing they're going to do a world tour after. I think that's what they said in the briefing, but I really do hope they do Europe. I know people are getting, especially in my comments, I read people get really angry about K-pop groups basically ignoring Europe, which I find very strange. I've been thinking, why don't they come to Europe? And I'm guessing maybe it's like a cost thing. Maybe it just costs more money to go to Europe than the money you make from the concerts, which I wouldn't be surprised because the UK is very expensive. But yeah, I don't know if that's the case, but it's very annoying. Switching to a different company, good old SM Entertainment, WayV. WayV are, as I'm speaking, releasing their teaser images for their upcoming album Phantom. I'm extremely excited, but also kind of heartbroken at the same time because obviously Lucas isn't in the lineup. He hasn't returned, and it's extremely bizarre to me now. I used to have hope that he would return. I actually thought he would return for this comeback, but I am worried that this now kind of solidifies that he's not coming back. And I feel like in the new year, SM will announce that they've parted ways with Lucas. I think that announcement is coming, and I kind of want to tell you, if you are a fan of WayV, to kind of just brace yourself. Got to support the other members. You don't have to if it's just sad. I know some people who absolutely adore Lucas can't really support WayV because it's just too sad to watch them and know he's not there. I have very little hope that he's returning. I think it's been a waste of everyone's time, and SM have handled it appallingly. I was speaking to someone who kind of said perhaps it's been a case of he's had a lot of legal issues behind the scenes, maybe some potential lawsuits and all that SM have been basically trying to deal with, pay people off, avoiding all this stuff. That's why it took so long to get him back, because I always like to refer back to Hyunjin. He's a really good example. Hyunjin had that bullying scandal and then disappeared for 3 months. Lucas hasn't been around for a year, so it kind of seems like it got to a point where it's been logistically difficult to bring him back in a legal sense. I also heard a rumor that WayV were re-recording their vocals and stuff on an album, and obviously I think Lucas had already recorded this Phantom album with the others, because I think that that's what it was building up to, a big WayV comeback. Because I think the plan was Henry and Lucas release Jalapeno, and then they announced that they're going to release an album and it's called Phantom and we've recorded all the songs and everything. Hey guys, you know? But then this scandal happened, so I think Lucas is going to be cut from SM. If SM still want to keep him, then they really value him and really crunched the numbers and know that he's going to make them a lot of money, so they will bring him back. But I do think SM, in their leaked schedule, it said WayV tour for next year. They're doing a world tour next year. Okay, so this Phantom album already had Lucas's vocals, so the members, you know how they said they were going to have a comeback soon, and they said that quite a while ago. I think what was happening was that they were re-recording the vocals and relearning and readjusting the choreography and all of that, and maybe even refilming the music video, who knows. I think that's basically what's been happening, why it's taken a little bit longer to prepare and it's been delayed. So I also think contractually they had to release a WayV album, but I also think it's because this will now give WayV new music. Oh, by the way, Winwin's in it, in case you didn't know. Good old Winwin. I think it's a case of this will give the group new music to perform without Lucas in the track. It's a bit more difficult performing things like Turn Back Time. I don't know if for the concerts and stuff they're going to have to like re-record vocals for all of their previous songs with Lucas's parts in it, but they at least have this new fresh Phantom album without him that they can perform on their world tour and not have to make big adjustments for. So I think that's what's happening. But it's awful, especially because January is Lucas's birthday and the WayV anniversary. So just imagine SM announcing that they've parted ways in January. That'll be so depressing. As a WayV fan, it's very tough. It's hard because I am able to separate someone's personal life from their idol life. They're two very different people. I know it's easy to forget, and I know a parasocial relationship forms between fans and idols. You kind of believe that the person you're seeing is 100% who they are. But, you know, at the end of the day, it is a job for them. They are working. I know parts of you seep through the real you. Someone can't act 100% of the time, and I think especially if you're being filmed all the time, you will let it slip a little bit. But it's tough because I really enjoyed Lucas the idol. I think he was very good at his job. I think he really fit in well with the others. I do think SM really did a good job making WayV. That's another video that I want to make, kind of why WayV worked, why WayV should have been way more popular than they are, and how successful they could have been. I think SM really landed on a gold mine when they made WayV. I don't think they really knew how good this group actually is, and the members constantly try to improve and evolve for themselves. So that's like great for SM, you know, you're getting a higher quality group each year. I mean, look at 10 just came out with Birthday, great song, great performance. He's practicing his butt off. Xiaojun's been practicing his dancing. His singing's already amazing, but I'm sure he's practicing that. Kun's been practicing making music. You see content from the other members as well. They're a good group, and I think Lucas was a great addition to that group, and I loved his vocals as well. I really enjoyed his vocals on the album. That's why I'm saying I think if he was just a visual, I wouldn't really mind as much if he didn't really contribute anything, but he was a good dancer, kept up with the choreography. I think his personality was very unique in the industry because most idols are very humble and modest, and you know, if the host, the MC or the host says, oh, you're very handsome, they go, oh, no. Whereas Lucas just went, yeah, yep, like, yeah, I am handsome. And, you know, just shock everyone. But it's like, hey, he's being truthful. And I think his confidence was really refreshing. But I enjoyed how he also seemed to be very positive with his teammates. And it's sad because his personal life should be none of our business. So it's annoying that it's tarnished that image slightly for me. Because how can you kind of enjoy someone while knowing all the other background stuff? But it depends. I know some people say it's all fake and it's wrongly accused. But I just think if someone's wrongly accused, they would still be in the group. That's my thinking. It's the same thing with like how people were saying, oh, Chris Wu's really innocent, and now look at him sentenced to jail. So it's tough. It's difficult. But I would like to hear your thoughts about WayV overall. I'm still excited for this comeback, and you know, I don't want the Lucas situation to dampen the efforts of these guys, of these remaining members. So of course I'm going to be listening, I'm going to be watching and enjoying them. I'm sure like they have amazing vocalists in the group as well. Xiaojun is a highlight. We know 10 can sing. Maybe like with Lucas's absent, there'll be room for other members to sing and we'll hear, you know, some nice vocals from them. So let's be positive about this. And that's it for this podcast episode. I hope you found it interesting, some of my insights into things. If you have anything insightful to say or if you have any questions, just comment down below and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!